Hayakum Allah. How are you guys? So we're off to an off-road. Look up this stuff. Okay, so we're off to an off-road adventure that's gonna take us to Jabel Akhdar, which is the highest mountain peak in the region. We found a very nice off-road track, and I'm going to be trying out all of the stuff that we put on Project X because it's not been out on a trip yet. Should be fun. Last minute, putting stuff into the car, and we're off. Alright, so this route is going to take us, of course, to Jabel Akhdar, which is the highest peak in this part of the world. We found a semi 4x4 track, which we're going to have a look at and check if it's challenging enough, first of all. Second of all, if it is challenging enough, can we get through it? We're going to be heading to a camp spot, which is one of my favorite camp spots on Jabel Akhdar. It's not easily accessible, which is why it is one of my favorite camp spots. So this is the first time that I'm going to be trying out Project X after all the build and stuff that we did. Unfortunately, the fridge slider still wasn't installed, but beyond that, everything else is on the car. And it's time for us to really test how good this setup is going to be. So usually I'm the one that's the most prepared when going on a trip. This time I have no food. I haven't taken anything. I'm counting on the boys. Didn't have time. But I am going to stock up on some drinks, water, and test out the Camping Art fridge on a long haul trip for the first time. I've been using it on short trips, but the car has been on most of the time. So I want to see how it does when it's running on the auxiliary battery. Do we start with coffee? Coffee Amazon? No, let's go get some stuff first. So coffee is extremely important, especially if you've got a long drive. And I just got news that there's a lot of traffic on the way. Oh no. So we did end up getting stuck in some traffic around Fenja, and that was because they're trying to fix the highway. It was pretty slow going, but once we were past Fenja, the roads had opened up and we were headed towards the tallest peak in the Middle East. Having a performance exhaust on your 4x4 becomes very important if you're going to be tuning the car and if you're looking at getting that little bit of an oomph from your car. So I have changed the exhaust system, but what I've done is I've put on a Fox electronic exhaust. What does that mean? It means that there's a switch for me to shut off how much noise it makes. And that was very important for me because although I love the sound of a good exhaust system, but on highway driving and long driving, it does tend to give you a headache. So I'm glad that I got this. I got it from Fox Exhaust in Ma'bela, and you have a remote control where you can switch off and on basically the amount of sound that comes out. Up the mountain we go. So because this is so steep and the car is going to be on low gears, I'm going to turn on my exhaust system. So giving Caro a small break. Coming up the mountain, you have to make sure that you have a 4x4 because it is extremely steep, totally steep. Up to now, you see over there, Project X. I love driving this car. Caro, get away from the garbage, come here. So just giving him a short break and then we will head back up. As I was saying, you have to have a four-wheel drive. It has to have low gears because getting down from those steep slopes is going to be an issue. I love the torque that we've got out of the programming that we did. Also, of course, I've got the intake, the exhaust system. Makes a huge difference. Huge difference. Potty time. I gotta clean that up. I don't know how clear the sound is gonna be. It's pretty windy. But this is something a lot of guys ask me about. This is the cot. The good thing about it, as you can see, comes with a bunch of zippers. So Caro's cradled inside, and if he does, because he has a tendency of throwing up, so if he does throw up, I can clean it up easily. This is waterproof. You have different sizes that you can get. Works on universally on each car. And I got it off of Amazon. Amazon AE has it as well now, so you can actually order it and get it in 2 days. You don't have to get it from all the way in the States. So I'll tag that product in the description somewhere. So as I continued my way up the mountain, I got a call from the boys that they had stopped to help out someone who needed some assistance, and I decided that I would get there and help them out too. When you're overlanding, you come prepared. So with our good deed of the day completed, it was time for us to head towards the entrance of our 4x4 route, which was still way up the mountain. In the last few years, there's been a lot of touristic development in this area. This is the Docet, one of the newest hotels in the area, and it has an adventure park, which I was looking forward to doing soon with my kids. But our adventure for today was to get onto this 4x4 route and head towards the ravine, the furthest part that you can get to by car on Jabel Akhdar. The turnout for the camping spot is at the Khabba, which is right after the Royal Farms. As you head out, it becomes a gravel track. Now, on our way down there, this is where things started getting hairy. So this little incident brings me to my first overlanding tip. Make sure that everything on top of your car is bolted down properly before you head out on any trip. So, my bracket broke, and this fell all the way from there. Bracket broke. طبعا هذا البراكت جاء مع it came with this, so manufacturing defect or something, I don't know what it is. Anyway, we'll fix this up, drop it into the back of Ali's car, and we head out again. I'm guessing we have to get this fixed. No wheeling trip is going to be complete without there being some damage, and I was hoping that this would be the only damage that I would fix. حاليا there's enough space on his car. We'll tie it up, we'll take it, and we get it fixed when we get down to Muscat. So the setup on the X has given me a lot of really cool storage space. This is my utility drawer where I keep all of my utility gear, and I just needed the straps to make sure that the water tank stays stable on Ali's car as we head towards this pretty challenging track. Yeah, this diamond top is pretty solid, guys. I weigh. What is this?
Best top.
Whatever, best top, whatever it is. I'm 65 kgs and I'm sitting on top of this, and there's a 30-liter full water tank. It's doing pretty well.
مالي diamond top.
The best part of the trips are, of course, the people that are with you, and I'm very, very fortunate to have such a great group of guys to be part of my adventures.
زينك قصير.
والله زين إني قصير. With the water tank secure on Ali's old lady, it was time for us to get on some wheeling. And leading the charge this time was Ali Al-Harthi with his Ram Power Wagon, followed by Ali Jafar from PPC, Oman, with his old lady. That's also a Ram. It's not a Power Wagon though. And of course, right at the back of the convoy was me with Project X. This was gonna be epic. The cameras really don't do justice to how difficult this track really is. It has a lot of steep areas. It also has a lot of loose rocks, as well as some pretty gnarly rock climbs. And not to mention, there's some really big ruts that you have to go through. The mission today was not to talk about the drive. That's what we'll do in episode number 2. The mission today is to make sure that we reach our campsite in one piece. This is an awesome off-road track, honestly. A good place to test out the car so far. I'm happy. I'm happy with how it's performing. Maybe higher lift, but we'll see how that goes. So soon we were through with the track and we had arrived at one of the most pristine locations you could camp out on Jabel Akhdar. It's the remotest campsites that are the most worth driving and going through all of that hassle for. This place is just amazing. Have a look at that view. Imagine waking up in the morning to that view out of your window. This was going to be our camp spot. بعد مشقة وعناء. So we finally found our spot, or at least I found my spot. So I'm gonna camp out here, set up the quick pitch awning, and figure out how we're gonna do the rest of the stuff that we need to do. While some of us got busy setting up the campsite and putting out our quick pitch awnings and quick pitch tents, Ali Jafar was still struggling to find a level spot. So I decided that I would take off my max tracks on the top of the car and level his car out. Okay, عشان نعمل leveling لسيارة علي نستخدم الماكس تراكس. علي's max tracks are طبعا على سيارته. Mine are here, so I'm gonna get them out if I can. And that's our camp for today. With all the cars leveled out, it was time for us to sit, relax, and then of course, Ali had promised that he would be making us lunch, so he got started on that, and I decided that it was about time for me to open up the new bed system that I put onto Project X. First time setting up the bed and everything in the Xterra. So that's the bed, as you can see, it folds out. I have the legs, and it's the first time I'm going to do it, so it might take me a little bit of time, but this should be extremely comfortable. Let's check this out. So this was a budget build overlander, and the bed system that I had designed would fold out just the way you see it, and then there were legs that would go underneath it, a total of 8. Getting those into position the first time wasn't an easy task, but I got it done. فهذا, as you can see, the platform. Next up was the mattress. I got this from one of the local camping shops in Oman. It's pretty comfortable and it did pretty well actually. With that, of course, with my pillow out, the bed was set. Time to get some food into our bellies. إيطالية جبلية seafood. So he's made tuna كبسة, Italian tuna كبسة.
Italian mountain seafood كبسة.
It's tasty. It actually is very tasty. I don't like tuna, but it's tasty. You're not getting it. So temperature is coming down. It's getting quite cold. Time to put on some warm clothes. Now with the sun setting and temperatures expected to drop as low as 10, it was time for us to call it a night. And that is part 1 of our Jabel Akhdar trip. Stay tuned, next week I'll be back. You'll get to know the setup of lights on the Xterra, and you'll also get to see some of the really cool gadgets that we had with us on this trip. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot, keep exploring.